Comics and powered by the Red 5 Network. For more, visit red5.bio.link. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. So for those who couldn't possibly understand what you do, kind of break that down for me. Like, how are you a space hair wizard? What is it that you do that makes you a space hair wizard?
That was actually kind of a joke. Actually, right now I'm unemployed, so I'm not a space hair wizard right now.
Oh,
I'm just looking for work like everybody else in California.
right.
Well, I mean, I've been in the industry. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for well over 30 years. And I've been in the industry for almost 30 years out here in California. And I've worked on a lot of different projects, but I'm kind of most well known for my last 7 years of work, which have been in the Filoni-verse, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, those productions, Lucasfilm productions.
So cool. Like I'm a cosmetologist also. That's how I got into all of this stuff. How I started out at about 20 years myself. And I got into hair because of Star Trek and Star Wars. Like the very end of A New Hope where she's got the crown braid.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how did they do that? Like it fascinated me so much. That and
Where did she get
Yeoman
all that hair? Like,
yeah, where did that come from? She didn't look like she had that much hair.
how did she have that much hair? Yeah.
Anyway, but that and like Yeoman Janice off Star Trek, the beehive with the basket weave in the front, that really that was what made me want to do hair, was Star Trek and Star Wars. What was it that got you? Because I saw that you started cosmetology school your senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you into that?
Honestly, when I was, God, I don't know, 13 or 14, my mom came home one day with a pair of hair cutting shears and said, she had really curly hair, and she's like, I'm sick of paying to get haircuts. I think you could do it. So I bought you some hair cutting shears. So I don't, okay, fine. So I cut her hair, and then I started cutting all my friends' hair, and that led to coloring all my friends' hair and just kind of being the person that did all that stuff. And so by the time I got to be a senior in high school, I was like so ready to drop out. I was just like, Mom, I know I'm not going to college. I know I'm not doing anything academic. Like, just let me get my GED and I'll go fucking work at Starbucks. Or, well, there was no Starbucks then, but go work at McDonald's or something, And she was like, no, it's really important that you graduate. She's like, just believe me, it's an important thing to do, and people will, you'll have more opportunities if you do. And so my school had like a program where you could go to school half day and then you could do other things half day. And I think the options were like auto mechanics, surveying, I don't know what the other thing was, and then cosmetology. And so I was like, oh, I'll pick that one. That one seems, like right up my alley. So I just had to do that. I had the whole summer before my senior year, I had to do my basic training. So I was at school, full time. And then my senior year, I would go to school for like 3 hours. I just did whatever my final courses were, math, English, whatever. And then I would leave and go to beauty school for the rest of the day. And I think that's the only reason I even graduated high school.
Really?
Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. I was just not academically inclined or interested. I know. And then the bonus to that too is that when I graduated, all my friends did go work at Burger King, and I could go work at Supercuts. So, it was like a little more of a career trajectory. I didn't necessarily immediately go to a salon, but I did always have that, to kind of fall back on.
You went to film school and you wanted to be a writer and producer. What was the thing that kind of married those two for you and you ended up doing hair on set?
Well, I originally went to film school. It was a summer program at NYU. I had been accepted to NYU for the full program, but I couldn't afford it. And I didn't want to go into debt going to school.
Right.
So I went to a summer, they had like a summer session where you could take like 2 different courses during the summer session. In the first half of the summer session, I took makeup, a special effects makeup course, taught by Rob Benavides, and it was like so fun and so great, and like, we had such a good time. And a friend of mine came with me, and we took that together. And then the second half of the summer course, I took, you did like the crash course, the production course, and wound up doing a lot of my little films. I wound up sort of marrying the two because I became friends with Rob, and he would help me, do things, effects and stuff for my final project was like this vampire movie loosely based on Anne Rice slash Sting's Moon Over Bourbon Street. It was like this whole, thing. And you'd use the other kids in the class as your actors and stuff. And so that was my final project. And when I got back I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the time. When I got back to Santa Fe and was, in my salon day to day, blah, blah, blah. I just kind of was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I don't have enough education to go into film. And I'm not willing to go be a PA because I can't work for that kind of money. Like my lifestyle didn't
right
go with that. And at the time, they were just filming a ton of Westerns in Santa Fe. They were filming the show called The Lazarus Man with Robert Urich, and they were filming just a lot of Westerns. They had a Western come through called East Meets West, which I think was a Japanese production. There was just stuff happening all the time. And so I kind of was dating an actor, and I just said, hey, next time you're on a set, will you find out who the hair people are? And he did. I reached out to her and I just said, listen, I'm a hairstylist and I'd like to come work in the industry. And she hired me sight unseen. And I had to, my first day on set was like a 5 a.m. call doing 1800s, which of course, when you're in a salon, you don't have experience doing 1800s.
Right.
I had to look at pictures and go, yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Fake it till you make it, baby. That's what they tell you in beauty school.
Yeah. And just kind of consistently would day check on those kind of projects and stuff, and talk to people. And a lot of people were there from LA, and just kind of asked them, and everybody would say, well, if you really want to do this, you should go to LA, because at the time there wasn't that much going on in Santa Fe. And I didn't want to do hair. I wanted to do makeup. I had convinced myself that summer that makeup was what I wanted.
The same way.
Hair to me was like a skill I had, but it wasn't it wasn't
it gets boring,
right?
When it's like your bread and butter, you're like, okay, look.
Yeah. So finally at some point I just packed up my shit and moved out to LA and started pounding the pavement. I was temping. I was working in a lot of real estate offices, answering phones. I don't think what other jobs I had while I was out here. Definitely temping. And then doing, going in the backstage. There was a backstage and there was another one. I can't remember what the two publications were that you'd get every week. And then you'd look and see who was making a short film or whatever. And you'd contact them and try to get on. And as long as you were paid something and could prove that you were there for however many days, you could build those days up and eventually submit them to the union. And I did that. Took me 3 years, I think. And I finally got everything together, submitted it to the union. And I joined as a makeup artist in 99 and didn't work for a solid year because nobody needed, there's thousands of makeup artists in our union, just thousands. And nobody was going to hire some new kid who had no resume, basically. All those short films I did hair and makeup, obviously.
Yeah.
You had to do whatever you could. And I didn't work. I think I worked a couple of days back in New Mexico on something because I could still work there. I had my father had a house there and everything. And so if things came to town, I would be like, find out what they were and go work on them. And then I was on a show. I somehow somebody told somebody, and I got on a show doing some promos for a show that was about to start. And I was doing hair on the promos. And then it was going to start filming like 2 weeks later, and it was going to be union, but the promos weren't union. And the makeup artist said to me, why are you doing makeup? Like, why is your union designation makeup when you obviously can do hair? And I said, well, I just thought that's what I wanted to do, but I'm not getting any work. And she said, you can switch once. And she said, and I can help you do that, because she was she was involved in the union. And she said, and if you switch, I will get you on this production, And so I said, okay. And she switched and she got me on the movie. I was like the third or something. I mean, I wasn't there full time, but
Mhm.
and then I just kind of never looked back. And it was also like, oh, I get to carry a lot less stuff. This is great.
That's always important. Save the knees in the back.
Yeah. Save the knees in the back, and you don't have to buy all that. Like, oh my god, foundations, and that goes bad. And I mean, curling irons can
Oh my
last for a
god,
long
I
time.
know. Your short film you said was vampires. Are you a big vampire fan? Like I'm a huge Anne Rice fan. Are you a big vampire fan?
I have three things that I'm a super fan of, and always have
Mhm.
been. The first thing I fell in
Mhm.
love with was Star Wars when I was 6 years old. Then I fell in love with Anne Rice the first time I read Interview with a Vampire, and that's the first time I saw things like in my mind. Like that's the first time I read a book and actually visualized the whole thing happening, you know. And the third thing, which I discovered when I was 12 and I will never get over, is Duran Duran.
Oh my god, I love Duran Duran.
So,
But
so
I
yeah,
love Anne Rice more.
yeah.
So my mom gave me Interview with the Vampire. Read it in a day. I'm like, can I have another one? She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Vampire Lestat. Read it in a day.
Want more
Like
of that. Want more of that. More of that.
yeah,
More of
please, more, please, more, please. I got to visit her house in New Orleans, the house on First Street.
Yep.
And then, funny story, I wrote a vampire book in 2006, and I'm currently working on the comic adaptation,
cool.
but yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's just yet another thing that I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but I'm like, it sounds like fun. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we've decided that next year they're finally having her celebration of life, and we're going to go to New Orleans for it. So.
Are they really?
Yeah,
Oh
November
my
1st.
god! I'll say, of course,
Yep,
it's gonna be.
Yep.
Oh
So
my god!
we're gonna go for Halloween, and then we're gonna stay and go to her.
Maybe we'll run into each other because that
Yeah.
sounds like a fabulous, fabulous time. Oh my
Yeah,
god, you are
it
so
just seems
cool.
like something important to do. So. In the meantime, I'm desperate to work on any properties that have anything to do with her, but everything so far has been filmed. Interview first season was filmed in New Orleans. Second season was filmed in Prague. Third season's going to be filmed in Toronto.
I am personally offended
Yeah.
by those shows.
Personally,
I'm so upset that they have changed the Mayfair Witches show. Just, I'm a critic. I review things. So
Yeah,
I watch it to review it, and I'm just sitting here going, oh my god.
They completely, yeah. And it's very frightening to me too, because like this is, I mean, her son is in charge of all this, and he's
I know.
I wonder how much of this would have happened if she was still around.
Exactly. I'm like, what did you wait until for her to die before you just like eviscerate? I told someone, I said, I feel like they just ripped all the pages out of the cover of The Witching Hour.
Yeah.
And used it as toilet paper and just like stuffed it back in. Like, okay, there you go. I'm like, who the hell are you? Who are you to say you know better than Anne Rice?
Yep.
About her creation? That just outrageous.
Yeah. And if you don't think it's going to make a good series, if you don't think it has enough in it to make
don't.
then don't make a series. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't just do it and completely like the only thing that was similar was the title and the name of the characters.
Exactly. Oh my god. I love you so much. You are the first woman in the industry to come on my show.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea what it is about me or my show, but I've gotten dudes like Todd Stashwick, Dave Blass, Neville Page, Brian,
that was great.
He's so sweet. He is the sweetest man. And so humble. He's like, oh, I don't really do much. I just kind of, like, what? Okay. Yeah, that's not impressive at all. And I've asked so many women, and I'll get like, oh, we'll look into it, and then I never hear anything again. I'm like, what do I do? What is it about me? Am I not nice?
We just all have ADHD and can't get our shit together. That's all. It's nothing.
Okay, well that tracks.
Yeah,
that completely tracks. You get any kind of creative woman, any creative period, squirrel. What's that? You're a huge Star Wars nerd. I follow your Instagram. Your collection of Star Wars shoes are so impressive. So enviable.
Just got a new pair.
I
haven't posted them yet. Well, I'm saving them for Japan, so they're gonna.
I was gonna ask you if you were going.
Mhm.
Of course you are. You're so cool. Anyway, you've worked on Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, that's my bottom B right there.
Mhm.
I love me some Ahsoka. What or who was your favorite character to work on? Like what is
Anakin. There's not even I mean, that's like, I could answer that question in my sleep. I mean,
you've,
there's no, yeah.
you've touched Hayden. Do I do the spazzy nerdy thing and just be like, was he nice? Does he know? Does he?
Everybody knows he's nice. He's so
Oh
Canadian.
yeah.
He's so Canadian. Kindest person. Kindest
Does
guy.
he smell like maple syrup and puppers or?
No. No. Uh-uh.
I take it he smells very nice.
Yeah. No complaints. No complaints. No complaints about his body odors or anything else about him. Actually, no complaints. No notes. No complaints. No notes.
No notes, no notes. But what is your most proud design, would you say?
Probably Fennec Shand.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Girl, those braids, my hands hurt when I look at her hair.
Yeah.
They just ache.
Yeah. Well, we thought she was a one-off. We thought she was coming in and dying in her episode. And so we're like, let's have some fun. And then they were like, oh, not only are we not killing you, but we're giving you a spinoff. It's like, oops.
Oh my God. I've never been good at the tiny tight braids. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a braider.
Mm-hmm.
I could never like go in a salon and say I'm going to braid people because I actually braid wrong. I braid underneath instead of on top.
I do too.
Yeah. So I wouldn't ever be able to get them properly tight or anything like that. I've taken so many braiding classes and people have tried to reteach me and I just can't do it. But I love braiding, I love the repetitive motion of braiding. Is kind of like, when I'm frustrated or bored or just
it's relaxing.
Need an outlet. I actually have here where I'm sitting. You can see all my heads and stuff behind me. I get out a mannequin head and I've got piles and piles and piles of canicolon sitting here. And sometimes I just make something.
Nice. That
reason.
Is amazing.
Yeah. Practice, for work. Cause I was trying to kind of like, build a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
It's just therapy,
Oh no, I completely agree. It's the monotony of it, the repetitiveness. It's
crocheting.
I was going to say that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just my hands are stupid, I guess, and the tiny little tight ones. I've never been able to do. I love a rope braid. It's just it's so simple, gets the job done, looks versatile. You puff it, tighten it, whatever. But those tiny ones, Fennec's hair. Like it's so impressive to look at, and my knuckles I want to do this just looking at it. My hats off to you. My gosh.
I'm just glad they let me do it because I mean, if you look at it, yes, she is an assassin, so it's practical that her hair be up and back. But come on, who's going to take that kind of time to braid their
right? Fennec, I need you real quick to we got a bounty. You got to go right now. Like, okay, I'm going to need 6 hours.
Well, we decided she has a droid that does it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
In space, there's braiding droids, and they just do it really, really, but they have 8 hands, and they just do it really, really fast.
Oh, we're going to need to see that in live action.
Yeah, I've asked for it a couple of times, but no one's...
Disney, send her check. Let's go.
Me seriously. I keep telling,
Well, let's start a campaign. #braid droid.
#braid droid. Yeah, I mean, and we saw that there's that one droid with all the arms that cuts up vegetables that was
yes.
Why can't maybe he's got a cousin that's a breeding droid?
Specifically his cousin. It has to be his cousin for it to work.
Well, same kind of droid, so same family.
What's your favorite Star Wars property?
I mean, my favorite growing up was always Return of the Jedi. Because I was kind of a scaredy kid, and Empire was kind of scary to me, even though I know it's a much better film. But Return of the Jedi had Ewoks, and it had, and Princess Leia got to be pretty. And,
yes, she got her
like,
long pretty hair.
Except for the Rancor. The Rancor scared the shit out of me when I was
Really?
I couldn't watch that scene ever. Even in the theater, I was like, had my eyes closed. So in Return of the Jedi was my favorite, OG. When I first saw the prequels, I did not care for them, but I have grown to appreciate and love them, especially just because of Padme. And the visuals, the things that went into that, give or take the plot or the acting, it's just, the world building in that is so incredible.
Yeah, stunning.
And then animated, Clone Wars and Rebels are both kind of about the same to me. I really enjoyed those. I was kind of happy that I was sort of forced to watch those. Like those weren't really on my radar until we brought in Bo-Katan, and then it was like, oh shit, now I got to watch a bunch of cartoons. And it was the best homework I ever had. I was like, this is
right. You did Bo's hair, the wig for Katie. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
She looks.
I designed everything you see on camera. I didn't necessarily execute. There's a few people that I, that I had other people taking care of, but I was responsible for all of the looks. So I had to be the one to design it, get it signed off on, and then I could pass on the.
She looks so accurate. Like she just stepped right out of the cartoon. Like so good.
That was tough for me because the first time she had a makeup test, they didn't like what I did to her because I made her look too much like the cartoon. It was almost a cosplay.
Oh, okay.
It was like really straight and like kind of chunky in little pieces and like really literal. And they were like, "Ew, that's like a wig." And I was like, "But it matches." And they were like, "Yeah, but it needs to look like the real version." It was like, I'm still learning this learning curve. And it was like, she's looked like a real person.
Oh, and people are going to complain no matter what. When Cad Bane came out, everyone's like, he's not blue enough. Like, oh, shut the up.
My favorite property to work on was Ahsoka. I mean, Ahsoka will.
Yeah. Oh God, Rosario is so good as Ahsoka. I just love it. I love Ahsoka. I love everything about her. She's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't want to say she has mom energy, but
Hera has total.
Hera.
No,
I love Hera and Chopper.
It's not mom energy. It's just kind of
leader,
leadership energy.
She has very strong leadership energy, and she's really good at articulating and projecting an air of authority.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
Which is really interesting because the Ahsoka that we all know and love from, at least from Clone Wars, not necessarily from Rebels, was this little bratty kid,
Yeah.
And so I think it was really, I don't know how they came up with where she is now, but a lot of people complain about it. She's too stoic. She doesn't smile. She doesn't blah, 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 blah. But it's like,
smiles.
You have to consider what happened between Rebels and now, like all the stuff she's been through and all the, losing her master, the dark side. I mean, just all that stuff that she went through. And
she's middle-aged now.
Person. Yeah. She's not that little kid anymore. She walked away from that order. So, like, I think people, people are going to complain no matter what. They're going to.
Oh yeah, that's the thing these days. I call it professionally outraged.
Yeah.
That
and the gatekeeping, those are two really
yeah. Like, let's just let everyone enjoy what they enjoy and be done with it. Like, I can agree if something is objectively bad, but I'm not going to sit there and rip people apart for enjoying it. Like, what kind of psychopath wants to steal joy?
Like somebody said to me that's about the sequels. They're like, what do you think of, Rise of Skywalker and all those films? And I said, you know what? Star Wars content is Star Wars content. I'm just happy that we have it. Is there flaws? Sure. But that's, to me, I'm just happy to have it. I mean, when Kylo Ren cut the Supreme Leader in half and the two of them turned around and back to back and started attacking those Praetorian guards, I jumped up and cheered. I mean, it's just like, it's fun. Like, I don't know. People take it so seriously, and I think it's great, and Star Wars fans are the best fans and they're the worst fans because it's like, guys, it's fiction.
It's not real. Like,
this is some fun. you know.
You're threatening to punch someone's grandma in the face over a fictional character.
Yeah,
What does
yeah,
that say about you?
exactly.
Like, I'm not a big sequels fan myself, but I mean, I'm not gonna rip someone apart, call them names, or lose
Yeah,
respect for them just because
yeah.
they enjoy it. That's stupid. A friend of mine, from another podcast, Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast, we were talking once that if you could go back in time and tell us when we were kids, like in teenagers, that you are going to have Star Wars TV shows, like big budget Star Wars TV shows, we wouldn't have cared what it was about.
Yeah,
We would
exactly.
have just been excited that it
What I said,
existed.
just Star Wars content is good. I mean, just you know, do I love all of it? No, but you know, it's an interesting world. It's an interesting concept. George Lucas gave us something that's going to be everlasting, and you know, I'd like to see what people do with it. And I think it's, you know, I don't always agree with it, but it's not my job to do that. It's just my job to enjoy what I want to enjoy and not watch what I don't want to watch. You know?
Right. You mentioned you love Ewoks. I love Ewoks. I
Mhm.
have a Shih Tzu who looks like an Ewok, so we say we adopted him from Endor. His parents were killed by a forest walker. Um, did you see Skeleton Crew?
Mhm.
What did you think of it?
I was cute. Um,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was like a little. It could have been like an after school special. It kind of like
Mhm.
wrapped all up in one little bow. Like people are like, "Oh, what would they do for a second season?" And I'm like, Why do they need a
You
second
don't
season?" I
necessarily
mean,
need one.
yeah. It was cute. It's, you know, it's got that Goonies quality.
Mhm.
There was some fun stuff in it, and it was. It's not something that I'm gonna like go back and rewatch a bunch of times, but I really enjoyed
Mhm.
it.
It kind of reminded me, the vibe, kind of reminded me of like Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
felt like that. I was like, this is so sweet.
yeah.
Like,
Sweet.
this is just so sweet. I really enjoy that. But I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just wanted to hang out for a bit, get to know you, and put a little something out there. Um, I'm just so excited that
No,
you're
no,
here.
no, no pressing questions or dirt you need to know about except for what Hayden smells like.
Mm. I mean, I'm always open for dirt, but I'm not going to have someone jeopardize their future over it. So there's that. Um,
Well, I do have to say that none of this would have been possible if it hadn't been for Brian and Brian's belief in me and faith in me. You know, when I found out he was doing this show, it was kind of a roundabout way I found out, and I was like, I need to do that. And he was like, okay, let's meet for coffee. And you know, I said to him, I was like, dude, you're gonna find 20 people in this town that have bigger resumes than me, that have done more, you know, done more department heading, done more, you know, episodics, people with big names on their resumes. I was like, but you're not going to find anybody who knows this material like I do. I was like, you'd be an idiot if you didn't hire me, because I know, you know, I know Star Wars.
mhm.
And, you know, he gave me a chance, and bless his heart, you know, 7 years later, I was still there, and I got, you know, some Emmy nominations and had some good times and met some great people. And now I feel like I'm kind of a part of this thing that was always so important to me growing up. And it's all thanks to him. And I keep, you know, the only reason I regret not winning an Emmy is because I always wanted to thank him and I have not got to. So this is my thank you, Brian.
Oh god. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. He's a important person in my life as well. And I was sitting at his house, and he just kind of laughing at me. He's like, because he doesn't really know that much about Star, like not like you and I do. And I was kind of going on and explaining something to him, and he said, "You got to meet Maria, because you two could go on and on about this stuff. You know this stuff like she does. You got to beat her, because a little punk rock like you loves Star Wars. You'd hit it off, and we both do hair." So.
Yep.
But yeah, he's super awesome, and the things he has done for me with this prosthetic project we're desperately trying to work on is just, I mean, I couldn't thank him enough. I have no way to thank him enough. But I'll let you go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If people want to follow you and eyeball your work and stuff, where could they find you?
On Instagram, it's at Hair Department ETC, so Hair Department, etc. And then also, if you want to follow the adventures of my land speeder,
That's you.
Yes, that's
I
me.
follow that.
Yeah. It's only speeder fans. Yeah.
Oh, that's
my Speedy.
hilarious.
That's my Speedy. Yeah, I brought him to work because I thought it'd be funny to ride him back and forth to craft service.
That's fantastic.
Little did I know that everybody else was going to jump on the bandwagon.
So a friend of mine is the same friend from the podcast. He's a pretty big fan of Shin. So I've seen the Shin Hati land speeder clip several times.
Yeah. She definitely gave Speedy a rep. Lucasfilm wasn't real happy because she was smoking a cigarette, but other than that, but yeah,
they'll get over it.
They'll get over it.
He gave you some promotion, dude. Calm down.
Yeah, and now he's got I don't know if you've seen Speedy lately, but he's got a lot of new tattoos. Everybody's been signing him, so
I do enjoy tattoos.
Yeah, he's been autographed. He's been autographed by let's see, he's been autographed by everybody except Natasha. So Sabine's the only person who hasn't. Well, Sabine and obviously Thrawn, but yeah, he's got everybody else's autograph from the series on him. So he's got a little special place in my office here where he sits, and I can play on him every once in a while.
Are we getting season 2 in Ahsoka season 2?
Oh, they're starting production. I think I don't know, sometime soon in the next year. I don't know exactly when because I'm not involved in it, but it's happening.
That really fucking sucks. Like,
they're taking it to London.
Oh, those fuckers.
Yeah. I'm pretty upset about it. I'm pretty bummed, but accepting it's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
If they can make it for less money in London, then they're going to make it for less money in London.
Well, they buy all the studios and stuff up when they film over there, so I can see. We've got all these studios, so use
hoping they come back. I'm hoping they do 2 there and come back for 3. But I mean, fingers crossed that more stuff happens here.
Well, isn't California given like a bunch of tax breaks to try and encourage?
Yeah, but it's for lower budget. It's for like 10 million and under. So it's not.
That sucks. Yeah. Well,
that's a whole nother podcast. I could go on for hours and hours and hours about that if you really
well,
want to hear it, but
we should do that sometime. So sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this, Maria. Sure. You're so cool. My hero. Thank you for going to do this.
Thanks,
and maybe we could do it again sometime.
Sure.
Okay.
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you.